口に入れた時にもう果汁が飛び散るぐらいジューシーのが特徴です。
Harvesting starts in July, just in time for one of two main Japanese gift-giving holidays, eVGENIY. The grapes are only grown in Ishikawa Prefecture, and they're cultivated in greenhouses, where farmers have better control over the growing process. Each grape is monitored and manicured, so that every one in a bunch looks totally identical. To produce grapes of the proper size, they use a grape thinning device and a simple pair of scissors.
どういった粒を取ればいいのか、どういった粒を取ればいいのか、どういった房を取ればいいのか、色のムラができちゃうとやっぱりダメなので、それをこのハサミでですね、粒をいかに揃えるか、形よく揃えるか。
The second factor they control.
いかに揃えるか、形よく揃えるか。
The second factor they control is light.
房にある程度光が当たらないと、色が進まないので、明るさの管理というものも、すごく、他の品種以上に意識します。
One way to control light is by adding or removing leaves near the vines. To confirm that enough light is getting into the greenhouse, farmers use a different tool.
明るさを、スマートフォンで、カメラでですね、かざすとですね、その空の割合が、瞬時に数値化されて、
Using a program they developed with a private IT company, farmers can then identify how much light they need to add or subtract.
この辺りの房の周囲だいぶ暗いので、まず枝葉を、かき分けてですね、房の周囲に光を入れるように光環境を改善します。だいぶ明るくなりました。
The final, complicated element for ruby Roman grape farmers is temperature.
で、猛暑の年も多いんですけども、ハウス内がですね、あれも30度超えてすごく暑いと、綺麗な赤色にならずですね、色が白っぽく色が進まない。
They open the sides and ceilings of the greenhouse to keep it as cool and ventilated as possible. And still, not all the ruby Roman grapes farmers grow will be up to standard, which is why supply is consistently limited. In 2020, only 25,000 ruby Roman bunches were up for sale. That's a tiny fraction of the total number of grapes that were for sale in Japan, which was about 163,000 metric tons in 2020. A 63 fraction of the total number of grapes that were for sale in Japan, which was about 163,000 metric tons in 2020. It wasn't until 2008 that the first ruby Roman grapes went up for sale. The effort to create them started in 1995, when local grape farmers and Ishikawa's Agricultural Research Center came together to develop a new breed of large red grape.
父親は現在不明です。何十品種も、品種がいろいろありまして、そこに赤色の品種、青色の品種いろいろ、混在していたわけですけども、そこの品種の赤色の品種、青色の品種いろいろ、混在していたわけですけども、そこの品種の、からですね、花粉が、飛んで、偶然その、交配してですね、実ができたといったことで、非常にそこはラッキーだったなと。いろいろ割ってなかったら、ルビーロマンが生まれてなかったということ。いろいろ割ってなかったらそこはラッキーだったなと。いろいろ割ってなかったら、ルビーロマンが生まれてなかったというこ
they ended up with is the most expensive grape in the world. So expensive that in 2020, one bunch of these grapes sold at auction for $12,000. That's about $400 per grape. High-quality black opal can cost over $10,000 per carat, making it one of the world's most expensive gemstones. But mining black opal isn't easy. After investing tens of thousands of dollars, a miner might not find a single gem. So what makes black opal so hard to find? And why is it so expensive? Black opal is one of the most enchanting stones in the world, sought after for its seemingly infinite display of colors. Compared to common opal, which is usually one color, black opal exhibits many different colors, contrasted by a dark body tone.
It's simply the most stunning gemstone on the planet. It's just remarkably beautiful. You can put the thing away for a week, pick it out and look at it, and you can still see things inside it that you've never ever seen before.
Opal is found in several parts of the world, including Ethiopia, Brazil, and Mexico. But over 90% of the world's opal comes from Australia, and a lot of the black opal is found here at Lightning Ridge. It's located on the edge of the outback, with a population of just over 2,000 people. Miners have been searching for opal here for over 100 years. But even for experts, finding black opal isn't easy.
If you were to start mining tomorrow, and once you learn mining skills, and I've been mining for 40 years, would be an equal chance. Just because there's nothing really that can tell you, oh, there is opal in that piece of ground, or there's not opal in that piece of ground.
Miners start by drilling a vertical shaft in an area that they think contains opal. Then they must clear out an underground room large enough to start digging at the rock.
The basic idea of mining is basically extract the opal clay out from the ground, put it onto a truck. I take the truck to a puddling site in town and check if there's opal in there.
The equipment needed to mine and the cost to register your claim can be extremely expensive.
Really, if you wanted to rock up here and be serious, you'd probably need 150 grand to 100 grand in your pocket to have a go.
But buying the equipment doesn't guarantee that miners will find black opal.
Some people will go, oh, there's definitely money there because next door they got $200,000 and there was a bit of colour drilled up here, it's got to have come over, and there's a whole epic story of why there should be opal there. And you go and dig there and it's not.
Miners search for areas in the rock with trace amounts of opal. They follow these spots, called knobbies, hoping to find more opal deeper in the rock.
You'll keep going in a straight line till the trace runs out, and then come back where there was trace in the wall, go left and right, and then if that stops, then you come back and do it again, and you can come back and do it again. So you've always got that in the back of your head, you know, when do I leave, how long do I stay, have I stayed too long, I'm wasting time, I'm wasting money from my next patch. There's a knobby there. When you're in a really good pocket, see how these knobbies are sitting close like that together? They can be like a cluster, like a bunch of grapes that are all sitting around each other and they've all got colour. Hear that? See that sound? It's like glass. So you get that big one out. There we go. Yep. Doesn't have any value. Common black opal.
Opal is formed when silica-rich groundwater hardens in rock over millions of years. Large silica spheres within the stone diffract light, creating vibrant colors. Large silica-rich groundwater hardens in rock over millions of years. Large silica spheres within the stone diffract light, creating vibrant colors. That play of color makes each gem unique. But for miners like Frederick, digging for black opal is a gamble.
The human factor is the biggest factor in finding opal. If you've got a piggy bank of $10,000 or $20,000, and then all of a sudden in 1 month or 2 months you've blown all of that budget because you've had breakdowns and you've had things occur that you didn't think of, and then you go, well, I'm $20,000 down, what do I do here? I've been full-time mining for about over 45 years, and quite often I say to myself, how did you do it? You know, how did you survive that long, making it your only job? I've done good, not great. I haven't been in the millions. I haven't been up there in the fantasy pocket, you know.
Once rough opal is extracted and processed from the dirt, it has to be cut and polished. This is when the real value of the gem is determined.
A black opal can vary from starting at maybe $1,000 a carat for run-of-the-mill and going right up to tens of thousands of dollars for that really exquisite top quality. The main stone is 241 carats. A few $1,000s a carat wouldn't be unreasonable.
So a lot of money.
A lot of money.
The color, brightness, and patterns can all influence the price of black opal.
What you're looking for in the best quality opal is a black stone with really bright colour and as much red and other colours as possible. So the most valuable black opal of all is a really bright red stone on a very black base, and that just glows.
Давай что-нибудь возьмем, очень редкое такое найдем, сделаем. Да, нет, век, где эти штуки? Жизнь твоя пропала, знаешь, потому что ну, 9, где я? Что происходит? Миски нашли. Где миски нашли? Понял уже, как это. Вот отлично. Мне это нравится. Мне это нравится. Мне это нравится все время. Сумасшедший фотоаппарат. Эх, Машка, Машка. Маленький он просто идет. Не знаю. Это даже ведь надо. Лишнее питание, это жестко. Бур. Че ты? Да, кстати. Мартинес. Лукьяна. Мартинадо. Ладно, я буду.
Welcome to Cunningham Piano. I'm Hugh Sung. In this video, I'm going to answer the question, what do the pedals on a piano do? Now, depending on the keyboard or piano that you have, you'll find anywhere from 1 to 3 pedals that you operate with your foot. And they all have different functions. So let's start off with the pedal that is most commonly used. On acoustic pianos, it'll always be the pedal on the furthest right, or on a digital keyboard, especially low-end keyboards, if you only have one pedal, it'll always be this pedal. It's called either a damper pedal or a sustain pedal. Basically, it does the same thing. And in fact, the names are synonymous with their function. Okay? So let's take a look at the damper or sustain pedal. The damper pedal or the sustain pedal controls these pieces of wood with felt underneath resting on top of each string. Every key has a damper that's connected to it. All right? When I play a note on the piano, when I push down a key, that lifts up the corresponding damper. When I let go of this note with my finger, the damper comes back down and stops the sound. Every note will have its own damper to control when it sounds and when the sound is released. Now when I push the damper pedal down, notice all of the dampers come up all at once for every single string. When I play the keys and keep my foot on that damper pedal down, the keys will continue to ring until I let go of the pedal and the dampers come back down and the felt stops the strings from vibrating. Okay? So this is a great way to keep, this is one of the most magical sounds that you can create on the piano, pushing the damper pedal down and letting the sound ring and then lifting up your foot to stop the sound. That's what the damper or the sustain pedal does. It's one of the most essential functions in making music on the piano. Okay, so now let's say you have a piano or a keyboard with two pedals. What does that second pedal do? Well, the second pedal will always be to the furthest left, and that pedal is the soft pedal or an una corda. What is an una corda? Well, again, the name kind of is synonymous. The soft pedal makes the piano or keyboard sound softer. Let's take a look and see how this works. When I push down the soft pedal, or the una corda, look carefully. You may miss this. I'm going to push the pedal down. Did you see that? Did you see the keys shifting slightly to the left? What this is doing is moving the action over. And if you'll notice, you have 3 strings for each key or each note. By moving the action over slightly, what that's doing is moving the hammers over, so instead of striking all 3 of these strings, you only strike one of the strings. Hence the name una corda, or UC as an abbreviation. So here's the sound of the piano, played normally. Now I'm going to push the una corda pedal down. Notice everything moves slightly to the right. Can you hear it? Slightly softer now. That's what the left pedal, the far left pedal, will do. It's our soft pedal, or the una corda. Now let's talk about the middle pedal. Now, this pedal's function will differ depending on whether you're on an upright piano or on a grand piano. And some uprights will mimic the grand piano's function. So let's talk first about what it does on a grand piano. Okay? On a grand piano, the middle pedal is called the sostenuto pedal. And when you push this, it has a really cool function. Let's take a look at what this does. Some music calls for certain notes to be held and sustained, while other notes stay disconnected or are stopped, like you would normally, like you would with each individual note. To do that, we use what's called the sostenuto pedal, which is the pedal in the middle, as I mentioned. Okay, so how does this work? The way this works is you play the note first, you hold it with your fingers, then I push the sostenuto pedal. Notice these 3 notes are still having their dampers held up, and that's being done with my sostenuto pedal in the middle. But all the rest of the notes, the dampers come right back down. It's only these notes that I've pre-held and locked with the sostenuto pedal that are being sustained. So once again, I have to first play with my fingers, hold the note. While I'm holding those notes, then I push the sostenuto pedal, and then those notes are held. Now, if I want to, I can still use the damper pedal at the same time with my sostenuto pedal. So watch, I can do this, play these notes, catch it with the sostenuto pedal, push the damper pedal down, and then control. Now, everything is ringing now, but when I lift the damper pedal, those other notes are stopped, and these notes are still sustaining. That's the sostenuto pedal. Now, on an upright piano, that middle pedal is sometimes used as a practice pedal. And when you push this down, you'll have the option to sometimes lock it by pushing it also to the left. And what this will do is it'll bring another thicker piece of cloth between the hammers and the strings for a really muted sound left. Control push the pedal. So watch, I want to pedal with my finger to the note first. Oh. Let's talk further and now let's talk about the middle pedal. Now, this pedal's function will differ depending on whether you're on an upright piano or on a grand piano. And some uprights will mimic the grand piano's function. So let's talk first about what it does on a grand piano. Okay? On a grand piano, the middle pedal is called the sostenuto pedal. And when you push this, it has a really cool function. Let's take a look at what this is. Some music calls for certain notes to be held and sustained while other notes stay disconnected or stopped like you would normally, like you would with each individual note. To do that, we use what's called the sostenuto pedal, which is the pedal in the middle, as I mentioned. Okay, so how does this work? The way this works is you play the note first, you hold it with your fingers,